Welcome back to the Roll-Up High Roller community. As always, nothing on the roll-up is to be construed as financial advice. We are just some educators in the DeFi space. Toss us a quick like, give us a share, a repost, send it to a friend who may want to watch this, and finally, give us a sub or a follow. It means the world to help support credibly neutral educational content in DeFi. We're here to educate, empower, and enrich you, and let's jump in. As we move on to the next panel, we've got Buffer, Castle Capital, and DefiEdge. I believe OXVD is here from DefiEdge, so we'll start with him, and HL or Adamus, if you guys are out there. I see you guys in the accounts. Feel free to request. And yeah, OX, GM, DefiEdge is getting ready to participate in the STIPs with some concentrated liquidity, and that's kind of like the mechanism you focused on. So let's hear about your contributions, the collaboration plans, and what you guys are up to.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us here. And good that, it's really happy to see this growth in Arbitrum ecosystem, finally happening, right? And it's good to be a part of this ecosystem, finally, right? So, of course, it's good that now the back fund and everything has been successful. And first of all, I would like to, express gratitude to all of the partners, right, who actually worked so hard into getting into the nitties and gritties of it, get to the point, get to the core, how this actually pans out. And, now we are here with the back funding and everything. So, this has kudos to the team, kudos to the Arbitrum governance, all the community members, all the delegates who actually voted this out. So now coming to the part of, the STIP. So we have actually received around 200,000 tokens from our, of course, we'll receive. And to the people who don't know, DefiEdge is an asset management protocol that is built on top of concentrated liquidity dexes. And, concentrated liquidity dexes is a norm now. Every chain has a concentrated dex, right? That actually enables much more volume, much more trades, and even more profits for the LPs, right? But the only blocker or the issue that the people are facing is, of course, better management and how to actually, LP and get that profitability out, right? Because the IL actually kills your profitability, right? So that is what we are actually enabling, right? Ours is a completely permissionless, decentralized protocol where you can create strategies for yourself, or you can add funds to strategies other people have created. And the suite or the bouquet of dexes that we actually have been partnering with is actually, is the vast in the ecosystem. We have been integrated with Camelot, we are integrated with Ramses, right? We even are live on PancakeSwap B3. Now, they recently went live on Arbitrum, and we are the first position managers to go live there. And also, few other dexes that are coming on Arbitrum very soon, be it a solidly dex or a normal V3 dex, we are there to support them, right? And also we are enabling much more automated strategies to enable the retail to step into this constant liquidity realm much more efficiently and easily. And our automated strategies have been performing quite well recently, and we are able to, withstand this volatility spree, or, actually able to cruise through this. So this is something, remarkable we have actually achieved, and that is what we think. But now it's up to the community, that they give us our feedback. And coming to the part, how we are actually going to be distributing these ARB incentives is usually the part of actually sprouting the seed to, get more projects, get more people into managing or getting us to manage the token efficiently. And that is why we have kept more than 50 to 60% of the tokens that we received for new tokens or new projects who want to come, on DefiEdge and actually put their POL or create community strategies for their tokens, right? That have been recently launching, or they plan to, launch a token very soon. So that is our plan, because we think if an ecosystem has better management of your tokens, right? And you as a project are rest assured that, okay, if I have the token and that is being managed in an efficient manner, and you don't have to worry about that, then you of course focus on the growth and other aspects of the, product. So that is what we plan, and that is what we are doing. So 50 to 60% of our token rewards will be will be used for distributing to these new launch tokens or the tokens that we'll be partnering with. And we have great amount of partners who are actually, partnering with. It includes, many other partners. I don't know if it's in the public or not, but we have people who are creating strategies on top of our protocol, and they'll be, putting and pushing it in their communities. We have a vast list of protocols that have been using our services or our strategies to get their token managed, to have their strategies set up. Includes overnight finance. We have strategies for Dopex, Premia, all of these guys. So that is what we are enabling. Also, we have a share of the rewards that will be distributed to new strategy managers who actually come here and create, efficient strategies for the ecosystem, for the growth of the ecosystem, so that the people are much more aware and, they know what they are actually trying to do with the constant liquidity space. So happy to answer any questions, but this is, all about us and what we are going to do with the STIP plans.
Amazing. Yes. Thank you for sharing. We've also got HL and Heloise from FORE Finance on the stage now. Heloise, we haven't had the chance to meet, but we are longtime supporters of HL and FORE. Excited to hear how you are distributing the Arbitrum STIPs.
GM, guys. It's really nice to meet you. Buffer. I'll just start with what's Buffer, and talk a bit about STIPs. Buffer at Buffer we do short-term exotic options. We also recently launched perps, and as for incentives, STIP incentives, we are benefiting from our partners. We were not a part of STIP round 1, but we do look towards round 2. As for currently, thanks to Perennial, which with whom we integrated perps, our traders trading perps on Buffer receive ARB tokens on every trade they make.
Yeah, my mistake on the inclusion of the STIPs protocol. But HL, maybe you could tell us a little bit more about the partnership that you have with Perennial and any of the other projects we've heard from.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for hosting the space, guys. Amazing job as always organizing all this. Great to see all the builders come together here. So yeah, Perennial offers the counterparty liquidity for our perps, and as the guys explained before, up to 200% fee rebates on the trade. So all the perp traders who use the Buffer platform are eligible for the Perennial incentives as well. You can claim them directly through the Buffer portal. So yeah, very, very attractive rates there because you basically pay 0 fees on perps. Another very important partner is Camelot, of course. They're having this huge incentive campaigns for LPs and the nitro pools. Buffer is a long-term partner, is a roundtable member, and so our nitro pool, which is managed by Gamma, is also incentivized, currently paying out 80% APR. So we're more of a passive beneficiary of the STIP program. We're very excited about future rounds because like seeing all the different approaches to incentivizing different kinds of behaviors, we can really like pick the best ones, the most effective ones, and put them into action on Buffer. There's plenty of different uses we have for incentives. For example, we have the tournaments, no loss tournaments product coming out really soon. So we could use them for sponsoring tournaments, offering. We have a jackpot system also that's in final testing. So basically randomized jackpots that any trader can win using our different range of products. Yeah, I'm very excited to hear. Was the first panel where Senko was on. Very excited to hear Senko being excited about like live streaming, trading competitions and stuff like that, we definitely have to reach out there in terms of hosting or broadcasting tournaments. So yeah, extremely excited about the coming incentive campaigns on Arbitrum, because I think everyone here agrees that this isn't a one-off type thing, since it's so effective.
Definitely. Yeah. Glad to see the yields there on that Camelot pool, and for the some of the creative thinking with regards to some of the gamification aspects. Very interesting. Coming next, we have Adamis from Castle Cap. I remember we got to meet up there in Istanbul, chatted a little about the Arbitrum Citizens round that just passed through, which we both kind of passed through, and were able to be a recipient of a different type of grant from Arbitrum. And I'm really curious to hear about the research that you guys have been doing over the last couple of, really just like last 6 weeks, as far as Arbitrum goes. Kind of what you guys have seen on chain, in addition to some of the reports that have been put out by other parties. And then also just, would love to kind of give you a chance to explain your role as a delegate amongst other DeFi ecosystems, and kind of why, you feel that you guys are up for the job. And then anything else in the Arbitrum STIP kind of space that you'd like to share. So floor is yours, brother.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you so much, Andy. I really appreciate you giving us the slot to come up here. So yeah, don't worry, everyone. I'm not going to show you any ARB incentives. Probably one of the few to not. But yeah, it's super exciting to see incentives flowing into the ecosystem and doing their job. So yeah, thank you very much for having us. Yeah, essentially we're kind of a research collective. Very much on-chain native, group of analysts, researchers, traders, investors, and a lot of us, the core group, kind of came up from day one with Arbitrum. A lot of us migrated over with GMX and have kind of been addicted to Arbitrum ever since. We've been publishing a weekly newsletter and deep dive reports every so often, and also helping teams in the space, doing some advisory work, and also investing in fundraising. But, we saw STIP as a huge opportunity for us to really get stuck into the DAO itself, and to the governance of the DAO, and to ensure that, ARB holders and delegates were represented properly across the entire spectrum. And obviously, you can see from the delegates list that well-respected people, big influencers, big protocols, are all represented. And what we saw a kind of gap that smaller, more on-chain native, market participants who are using DeFi protocols every day, and trying out every single new protocol and doing research, weren't necessarily as represented as they should have been. And by, we don't have a large delegation by any means, but we try to work with the social capital that we do have, excuse me, and be a kind of voice for reason on the forums, doing our research, and kind of aiding delegates and market participants and ARB holders, to then go and lobby their own delegates, and make up their own minds. So yeah, the STIP was a really good experience for us. We decided to slog it out for what felt like a very long time, but those 2 weeks to do quite extensive deep dives on about 60 protocols we did out of the 100, and giving them kind of like a decent multi-paragraph response on how they can improve their proposal. We were super excited to see about 35 projects engage with us on the forum, with 21 updating their proposals with some of our recommendations, along with 14 lowering their requests. And we managed to lower about 12.5 million ARB from the comments we left, which managed to get a lot more people in. Obviously now we have the back month, so that's not as impactful anymore, but at the time we thought it was really important to be able to share the pie between different people. And we're just super excited to be involved in the DAO itself. I know Andy just mentioned we had Istanbul, and it was a really good good time there to be at L2 days and get to talk to L2B and a lot of the other delegates, Disruption Joe and Griff, and get really stuck into like what the DAO should be in its like raw form. And then we had the Arbitrum DAO day as well, again, which was really helpful and breaking away into some workshops and talking about what the future of the DAO should be. And, you know, we're just trying to find our place within the DAO, you know, as a research organization that can try and educate and contribute and ensure that the DAO moves forward in the right directions and allocates its ARB capital, you know, in order to see the ecosystem grow. So yeah, I really appreciate you having me up here. You know, we're going to get stuck into the forums very soon. We've got the Arbitrum Research and Development Collective one live at the moment, as well as some vendor onboarding things. So expect some responses from us there to get stuck in. And then on the research report side, it's great to see, you know, so much ARB being distributed kind of evenly across the space for all builders, which we didn't see with the ARB airdrop for DAOs previously. You know, when the DAO first formed, many DAOs and protocols got airdrops. Whereas, you know, if you weren't a DAO and you didn't have a token, you didn't receive that airdrop. So there's probably lots of protocols that you've had on here today who are in that camp. So yeah, just a bit of alpha. We're going to be dropping a spotlight piece on all those guys, hopefully tomorrow. So yeah, you know, we really respect people that are trying to build and, you know, achieve their product market fit and their user base and pivot, and, you know, you really find what their core product is before they, you know, launch a token and start emitting tokens and going for incentives. So really looking forward to shining a spotlight on those guys. But yeah, that's it from me. Happy to answer any questions, but yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Cheers, man. Thanks so much for coming on. Glad you and Andy were able to meet up in Istanbul, and we got you on today, and very, very much looking forward to collaborating on some research and educational pieces in the near future.
Sounds good, my dude. Yeah, looks good.
Cheers, buddy. I think we'll keep it moving here. We've got Alex on the panel from Savvy. I think we heard from Roman a little bit earlier about kind of how the back funding came to be, and he was certainly hyping you up, Alex. So he said that you were part of some very key conversations to make that happen. Maybe you could kind of pick up where he left off and tell us a little bit more about the process that you went through to make sure that some more projects got these STIP incentives. Oh man, maybe we can't really hear you. I think X is bugging out a little bit. If you
can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Sorry about that.
Boom.
I was saying thank you to Roman for being my hype man, and I wanted to give a big shout out to Capital, because they did a terrific job during the STIP and like providing a bunch of feedback to different protocols and kind of explaining exactly why they voted. And actually people like Castle Capital are one of the I'm working with Matt from Stable Labs right now on the long-term incentive program and a pilot program for the long-term incentive program, specifically targeting all those protocols that have not been funded or did not receive any of the incentive programs from the back funder for the STIP round one. And Castle Capital is one of the protocols that we think a lot, or one of the kind of groups that we think a lot about, and how we can better set up the incentive program to allow for people like application advisors like Castle Capital be able to give feedback up front, and actually pay people like Castle Capital be able to give feedback up front and create better both incentive applications and create better individual incentive experiments. So that's something that like we're working on. We have a long-term incentive program group. So if anybody here has not yet received funding on the long-term incentive, please reach out. I'm happy to add you to that group and kind of show you kind of what we're doing towards that. So that's a little bit about what's happening in the future. But in terms of the back fund, as Roman kind of said, Savvy was one of the protocols trying to get some STIP funds initially early on when STIP came out, but like we knew nothing about the DAO, right? We were literally making our forum names and like handles and profiles when STIP was just getting started, right? So we went from doing that to honestly all of us spending like 2 weeks of sleepless nights trying to go and get the votes, right? People talk a lot about how difficult it was for delegates and for people like Castle Capital to give feedback on all these protocols. It was also very difficult on the protocol side to go and try to meet all these delegates, pitch them, and tell them why they should vote for us and why not vote for someone else. And we were literally there on the last day waiting for like L2B and Treasure DAO to hopefully vote for us so like we could get funded. And in the last hours, they voted to abstain. So we, with IDM and myself, we kind of realized that there was something going on here, and like we wanted to better understand how this kind of came to be. And IDM did a bunch of voting research behavior, and we can send you guys the link later. But he did a bunch of voting research behavior to kind of figure out what happened in the DAO. And what we kind of found was that it was like almost inherently biased in the way that the DAO voted, and that's to no fault of anyone's. It's just kind of the way that things were. You have protocols like ourselves who were not as involved in the DAO and were able to get kind of a fair shake in terms of what got seen. So we ended up, we started looking at potentially doing a round 2, right? It's like starting all over doing round 2. We found that would have been way too chaotic and transparently would have been too much to have the DAO try to develop a whole new round 2 because everyone was thinking about how to make improvements. So instead we said, let's just do a back fund. Let's get this through, and then let's figure out how to do a better program that could benefit all of the protocols that have not yet been funded. And so we made that promise, and we're still going through with that. Now that the back fund has gone through, and gone through with the most support in any, like most total votes of any protocol. And I'll tell you this, that the latest conversation we had about the long-term incentive program, it's a different vibe. Like people are like, there's more people involved. There's more people thinking about how do we go through and do this together. And there's more people thinking deeply about like, okay, what does a good incentive program for Arbitrum look like? So I'm excited about that.
I love it. And I really do want to hear more about the long-term incentive proposal. I think that's super cool, and definitely on the same track as this STIP program, but we are running behind. So maybe we can sync up on that a little bit later after this space. I want to kick it over now to Lou, who's coming at us from the Magpie ecosystem. And there's a lot of cool tools underneath the hood of Magpie. So I'm curious specifically about the ones that are live on Arbitrum, and how we're increasing the capital efficiency of some of those staking protocols.
Yeah. Thank you guys having me here. So I'm new from Magpie team, and for the users who don't know about the Magpie is a sub-DAO that is like a correlation of the protocols that are working as a yield boosting platform on top of the solid and innovative protocols on Arbitrum. So currently we have Magpie on Pendles, and we are going to launch Magpie on Camelot, and we have Magpie on Wombat Exchange, and we have Redpie on Radiant. And if you guys are aware of it, so we completed the IDO, and the TG is coming next week. So yeah, as a yield boosting platform and as a huge ecosystem, we will receive 1.25 million ARP rewards, and we will actually use the most of the part, 80% of these grants to get more voting power and support the long-term vision of these protocols that I listed now. So basically, we will use these funds for in 4 batches, and after that, we will just launch the Rush campaigns, for example, like Pendle Rush campaign and DLP Rush campaign, Grail Rush campaign, and Warm Up campaign. And in this way, we will bootstrap the tokens of these unique platforms, and then we will drop their circulating supply, and we actually will have more voting power, and we will solidify our position as a top yield boosting platform on those protocols. And in this way, actually, like we are aiming to attract more liquidity on our platform, and also the main protocols that we are building on it. So this is the main focus on the usage of the STIP grant, and also we will use 20% of this grant to the liquidity providers on our protocols. In this way, we will not only just use this grant to obtain more voting power, we will also incentivize the users who provide liquidity on Magpie. So yeah, this is actually like a brief summary. That's how we will use it. And also, besides that, actually, like every protocol, we allocated this incentive to in different ways. So for Magpie, we will use 100K, and for PenPie, we will use 500K, and for RedPie, we will use 350K, and for ChemPie, we will use 300K once we launch. So yeah, this is the main points that we will use this grant. And if you have any questions, you can ask now.
Beautiful. Thank you, man, for coming out and being part of this marathon space. I believe up next we have our friends from Rabbit Hole. We have Julian. Well, I know that Rabbit Hole is getting their toes or their whatever rabbits have their whiskers into tons of different projects in Arbitrum in the quests. So we'd love to hear about your kind of your plans with Arbitrum. Maybe like your pitch to teams here as to like why using Rabbit Hole is could help them with their users and with the overall vibe. Yeah, welcome.
Well, first off, thank you. Thanks for having us. Really excited to be here. Can y'all hear me? I get a quick thumbs up. Okay, great. So just wanted to. So I'm Julian. I head ecosystem and growth at Rabbit Hole and the Quest protocol. And we're really excited about this grant and everything we're going to be able to do with users and growth just in general on Arbitrum. So to kick things off, just wanted to give a quick overview of the Quest protocol because it is something that is slightly different than others in the market. What you would expect from a protocol, it's fully on chain, and we think it's the most efficient way out there for anyone to target, acquire, engage on-chain users with token rewards. So very simply put, you create a very clear goal for users, and then they go on-chain and create and do the action itself. So foundationally, because everything is on-chain, it has some interesting values there. First off, it's permissionless. Anybody can go and create a quest. There's no gatekeeping from that front. You can easily start a quest with no setup fee, where there's no cost in starting, there's no minimum. You can start as little with $1 and just start getting users to engage with your protocol. And then you also only pay for results. Again, because it's on-chain, the rewards are held in an escrow contract, and it's only distributed upon completion of the quest. And so all that put together also offers, because it's on-chain, it's very transparent. You can see all the quests that are deployed, who redeemed, who's been using it, etc. And on top of that, you also get access to advanced targeting. So that's functionality we built. You can essentially, as a protocol, decide that you only want to reward a subset of users or a subset of addresses. And by doing that, you can target your existing users or others. And that lets you really create really interesting and strong campaigns. As part of the protocol, we have what we call Quest Terminal, which is essentially the interface that you're going to use to create quests. And it's actually very easy to use. You can get started in a couple minutes. The first step is you actually create, you select the action you want to incentivize, so the protocol, and then specifically which on-chain action you want to grow. It could be bridging, swapping, voting, minting, delegating, whatever it is. Whatever you can do on-chain, you can incentivize there. Then you select the target. So who do you want to reward for doing that action? And then finally, you set up the reward itself. And once you're done doing all that, basically you can accomplish all your goals as a protocol to acquire, engage, or even re-engage dormant users back to your protocol. And so within that world of the protocol and on-chain, Rabbit Hole is effectively one of the front ends where end users discover. And so if you're an end user, you just go to rabbithole.gg, and then you can join hundreds of thousands of users that are currently doing quests on the protocol itself. Now, when it comes to the STIP grants, obviously super excited. We were awarded 1 million ARB to distribute through the Quest protocol to users to accomplish tasks on chain. And so for us, it's a great opportunity for users to start discovering and engaging with the ecosystem at large. And so there's two sides of this. For the protocols, we'll be starting to deploy this very shortly. What we have is we're allocating a minimum of 20K ARB for every eligible project on Arbitrum. And to be part of the program, you need to actually submit an application. We tweeted about it recently. You can also see it on our mirror. And Then we have a quick internal review process. We focus on projects that are really focusing on long-term usage, not just speculative growth. There's some minor requirements of building a quick plugin, but nothing crazy. And then basically our team of in-house analysts and growth marketers will allocate the funds to grow your protocol, and we'll obviously work with the different protocols there and try to hit different metrics. So if you're interested, feel free to just reach out to me also on Twitter. My DMs are open, or just go through kind of the general announcements. And then for end users that want to engage with this and discover it and do more with the ecosystem, just go to rabbithole.gg. And we already have some great quests live with our friends from GMX as well. So there are already some things to discover today. And yeah, that's all I had to share. So excited to get this going and exploring more of the ecosystem.
Nice. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I remember when you guys were doing very much I guess a gamified ecosystem much earlier, maybe late 2020, 21, and now to see kind of bringing this into Quest, into Arbitrum, and it's exciting because I think while the DeFi power user might not be super stoked about doing a ton of quests, I think that there's a mix of people that will be, and there's a mix of new people that with that gamified aspect, it's actually a reason to participate in what we're doing here rather than just do it on, for lack of a better term, TradFi rails. So I appreciate you being here. And yeah, HL or Cozy, do you guys have anything that you wanted to just piggyback of there?
All right, I think we've got one audio working here. Let's see if we can bring this back. Wow. Mosaic, what is going on? We can hear you. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you, sirs. How's it been, the marathon itself? We've joined and we hear a bit of audio technical issues, but outside of that, how's it been going?
Outside of these issues, it's been a banger, man. All kinds of alpha. If you see, we've got a list of opportunities here at the top of the space. Probably a good opportunity to go check those out. And lots of alpha from all across Arbitrum ecosystem. It's just super healthy for the network overall. So great to see. Great to hear from all our friends at all these projects, and good to be back with audio on the stage.
What? You there?
Andy, we're here.
Okay.
I think we're gonna make it.
Because I dropped on and it felt like my entire signal went down, like my phone just froze up or something.
Oh, dude, we broke Twitter.
All right. Well, here we are. I see Mosaic showing back up. HL. Next panel is looking looking good after the first 2 hours. There's like a forced intermission. You can still hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
Man. And the rest? Fortes can see.
Yeah. So we got Fortes for Mosaic. I think we'll just do a makeshift panel here, and you know what? We'll just get people up as they come on. Fortes for Mosaic. We've got I think that's Dan from Rysk. And we've also got Sebastian from Pema on the gaming side of things. So let's move with the panel that we have on now. Fortes, why don't you go ahead and start? Tell us about the Arbitrum experience from the Mosaic perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Where to begin? The Arbitrum experience. We were in touch with kind of Arbitrum back in July when we were theorizing things for the Theseus Vault. But beyond that, we launched our token September 7th through an LVP style, which we then launched through our partners at Camelot. That's our exclusive liquidity pool there. And at the time, although we didn't necessarily clarify or qualify, I should say, for the STIPs or the STIPs, we've seen some really cool kind of on-flow effects from that from Camelot themselves, incentivizing the MozaicFi trading pool there. We've seen an increase in liquidity depth, across that pool as well, and an increase in volume too, which is exciting to see. So, while we're building out our Theseus Vault in the Arbitrum on GMX, I should say, which should be live next month, we're very excited and have proposed also to GMX for some incentives from their recent
Arb incentive program as well. So we're really excited about, the prospects of, being ingrained basically within the Arbitrum ecosystem. Like I said, the on-flow effects from these Arb incentives have been a world providing us with just a bit of a tailwind going forward. So yeah, fantastic to be building here. Fantastic ecosystem, fantastic builders. Yeah, nothing more than the world to speak about Arbitrum.
Well, I was eating around in the chat now, getting people like, hey, we're so back. Yeah, bro. And I appreciate your perspective coming in and being like dialed in on the space. A lot of people kind of come in into projects and ideas, and they like projects can sometimes kick too many chains, and I'm an activist of many more chains in the space. But like, having like the focus to come on to Arbitrum, it's been good, and we've heard a lot of really good, cool projects today, building on top of each other. And yeah, I mean, welcome to the space. Also, we have Rysk up here. Rysk, we have Dan, man. It's been a while. How are you? Are you can you hear me all right?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, welcome. Would love to hear about some of your contributions to Arbitrum and plans for collaborations, and how you're feeling about the vibes, the STIPs. And yeah, man, welcome.
Yes. Can you one for non-business just focus on, I think, yeah, a lot of things up in the lingo, and the STIP is definitely one of them. So just to give you an idea of what is Facebook, this is a DeFi options protocol. We deployed on Arbitrum over a year ago for the first time with an outside, and then we told with the official product, let's say, Race Beyond was like this summer, so kind of like 6 months ago. The STIP, it was honestly like a great opportunity for us, but overall, I would say it was like a great opportunity for options in general, because as we all know, like options are one of those, it's hard to explain it, but like it's one of those issues that everyone's talking about it, and everyone's asking like when they're gonna take off, right? And so it's one of the protocol working in the space. There are many others on some chat in the space, like especially on Arbitrum, like playing about the current work on space as well. And the STIP, I think, was a great opportunity, not just for us, but like the entire options protocols and the options space, to getting new players to bringing those volumes up. And if you look at the volumes in November compared to the months before, or just an Arbitrum, they obviously didn't just spike there. And I think it was a great opportunity to go new traders on getting to trade options. Some of them assume and confident that came from, for example, says Isaac James, the fact that they because of the target from the build liquidity, right? And to give you an idea of numbers, I think our scales to our goal on the STFU was to mint, for example, 2,000 contracts per week traded. That is roughly price of Ethereum back then, I would say 6 million traded per week. That was the goal.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, would you mind speaking a little louder? It's just to end off that STIP part.
Oh, yeah. So can you hear me better now? Yeah, so what I was saying is like on the STP, just to give you an idea of numbers, like, our goal was to beat 2,000 contracts per week. Yeah, so I was giving some numbers of the STP, right? So in our targets, it was to beat 2,000 contracts per week. That is roughly about 6 million, let's say, like a bit less than that. And in the first week, we hit that number. And to give you an idea, like just yesterday, we done like 2.5 million in a single day volumes. So the numbers that prove that, we found options traders in DeFi, and we saw the entire DeFi options space on Arbitrum growing. So I guess that was the main goal, and what is the goal? But the main thing to me is also the collaboration that happened between protocols. So during the STP, I think we figured it out with, that in the Arbitrum ecosystem is very active and like very active into collaboration. So we ended up, working with other protocols. We ended up talking with other protocols. And as I said, for example, even like other options protocol, we, had discussions about ideas, how to bring more options traded online on chain, but also like with the, other protocols in the space, not just options. And this marathon here, I guess, is one of those examples. Like, you can see the community around Arbitrum is very active, and that I think the STP made also like a great boost on this collaboration approach. So that's a Rysk experience so far. And I will say again, like we brought options on, options volumes on chain. We brought new traders. We brought collaboration on the Arbitrum ecosystem altogether. So I guess like the goal is reached so far. So I'm like, super satisfied on the entire STIP program, at least on my side or Rysk side.
Epic to hear that. And I think that last point was especially like prudent in that, we have an ecosystem where you say we've brought new traders, we've brought collaborations, like this idea of like, hey, if we can contribute here, then we can, make this much better. And then also like on the collaboration, like I'm really stoked to just, go through this after and be like, okay, this was a good idea with this and this, and try to put more and more pieces together and like just, see different collaborations. So definitely excited about that. Another guy over here on Arbitrum, another lad of ours, Mr. Good old Teddy is here and just having some fun now, 2.5 hours in. Teddy, how are you, man? And what's your plans with the contributions to Arbitrum collaborations and the STIP distribution? And yeah, man, how you doing?
Hey guys, I'm doing good. How are you guys doing? I'm surprised you're still standing up.
Rob's doing all right.
We're doing well. We're still kicking.
All right, nice. Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for inviting us. Yeah, I mean, like, we are super excited for the to start distributing our STIP incentives. So, I'm the co-founder of Notional, and we're pretty new to Arbitrum. So we only launched on Arbitrum about 6 weeks ago. And since then, we've got like about $3 million in debt on the platform, which is a good start. But I am really excited for the STIP to be able to kind of, increase that number a lot and be able to sort of introduce Notional to the broader Arbitrum ecosystem and really give people like a reason to come in and check it out and see what we're all about and like what our products offer. So I'm super excited about that. And I think just in general, I would say like, we're new to the Arbitrum ecosystem. But I think so far, like I've gotten a really good impression of, kind of the other builders here. And I would say like, I really like Arbitrum, like the way it operates. And, so even just being involved in the sort of governance process for the STIP, I think like to me that like, I just thought that was really cool because it was like Arbitrum is genuinely governed by people that use the network and really care about its future. I think that's very special, and it's like not, it's very different from I think a lot of these sort of other L2 options, and it shows, I think like Arbitrum is, it really is decentralized and it feels that way. And so I've just had a really good impression, and I've found that like, the other people that are building on Arbitrum have been very welcoming, and like everyone is very collaborative, which I'm really thankful for. And I am looking forward to sort of like getting stuck into the community more. So I'm looking forward for the STIP to kind of help catalyze that. And on Notional's behalf, we're trying to sort of do a couple things to get further sort of stuck into the Arbitrum community. So we're bringing over some of the stuff that we had built on mainnet. So we have integrations with Balancer and Curve that we sort of have already built. But like now we're looking at integrating GMX. And we're also going to be running like a special trading contest or like a yield contest as part of our STIP program, just to give like Arbitrum users an incentive, an extra incentive to engage with the Notional protocol and figure out how to, earn the most yield using Notional's products. And, something I'm looking forward to is potentially collaborating with other Arbitrum protocols on like doing maybe shared contests in the future. So I'm excited to be here and looking forward to contributing more to Arbitrum.
Amazing, Teddy. We're psyched to have you on, and congrats on passing 3 million on Arbitrum specifically, and also congrats for hitting the mark on the back funding proposal. Very, very keen to see the distribution engine start and start earning some ARB rewards over on Notional. And again, thanks so much for coming on. We're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna kick it over to Cassio. He's stuck with us through the interruptions, and we are excited to hear from Dopex, and a very key protocol in the Arbitrum ecosystem. Cassio, what's going on, man? Tell us a little bit about the Dopex's STIP plans, and then I'm also curious about your experience as a delegate.
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So yeah, as you mentioned, I'm like Cassio, or the product Dopex, right, and the product side of things. And so far, we always being Arbitrum native, like from day one, and plan to stay like that way for a good time. And now, especially now, since we started like also being actively on the delegation side of things. When it comes to STIP, right, we try to kind of like put our efforts to just use that incentive. So our new suite of products that is pretty much what we're betting on, what on-chain options are going to look like, and on Arbitrum, right? So we are incentivizing LP providers with our tokens for different option markets such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Arbitrum as well. And pretty much since day one, I will say this has been our most successful product so far in terms of like stickiness, not just because of incentives, because mostly like traders do not get any ARB. It's mostly for the LPs, and pretty much utilization has been pretty high. Like it stays around 60 to 80%, depending on volatility on that day. So it's pretty cool. And pretty much we're also like plan to incentivize our pretty much our whole suite of B2 products that are in part of like what makes Dopex what it is, and that comes also with the RDPX B2 token and pretty much the rebate system that we're gonna put in place long term. And yeah, on the delegation side, it's been pretty fun and pretty great to just kind of like use this STIP program to just kind of get closer together with other DeFi protocols and discuss different topics, and as well just know exactly what what our projects are doing out there. So at least I am as the delegate that kind of like is stuck in the forums, looking at every new post that happens every day. It's kind of like it's pretty cool to see like how much people like care about like just doing like innovative stuff on the Arbitrum ecosystem.
Very, very cool. Yeah, it's also been cool to hear and kind of keep it fresh from a couple of delegate perspectives. Cassio, that was great, as well as we had Castle Capital on speaking about the delegation process a little bit earlier as well. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to keep it moving. I'm going to pass it over to BP from Gamma and hear what Gamma is doing when it comes to concentrated liquidity. Go ahead, floor is yours, BP.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. So in terms of concentrated liquidity, we've been integrating with pretty much all the major DEXs on Arbitrum and managing concentrated liquidity ranges, starting with Camelot, Uniswap, Ramses, Sushi, Pancake. I think we've accumulated. I think Arbitrum is now our largest protocol, our largest network by TVL. And in recent history, we've just been doing like more native integrations with Camelot. Like before, you couldn't. We were directing people to Camelot to lock their LP tokens to SPNFTs. But now you either do that all through the Gamma front end and the Camelot front end. We're also going to be getting out analytics soon for Camelot. That's been in the works for quite some time. And finally, our data guys have been really great, and they put something together where you can now see the different rewarder types like SPNFTs plus Nitro pools plus Angle Merkle if it's applicable on the rewards analytics page. So yeah, that's honestly, that's really what we've been working on. The STIP program has been pretty great. Like seems like our users, Camelot, Ramsey's, our Uniswap users, they've all seem to have come in pretty large numbers in terms of attracting TVL and things like that. And in other news, we're also working on a GMX V2 integration where we're going to be utilizing perps to long and short and hedge out some impermanent loss on our LP position. So that's a little bit further down the road, but that's currently in R&D. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Happy to answer any questions.
Man, I wish we had you up with Trader Joe and the rest. It would have been the best. But yeah, man,
I think I might have lost it for like a second. I'm sorry. Was there another question, or is that?
No, sorry. No. I was just saying it'd have been great if you were on with Trader Joe and then earlier. I just think that the cool strategies. But yeah. Got yeah. You can tell us more, or if you have any other collaboration ideas. Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it in terms of what's our short-term and kind of long-term agenda. Yeah, just look forward to the rest of the STIP program. Thanks again.
Yeah, definitely. Excited to see just the level of integrations here. Like, it's one thing to host a project as collateral on a token and borrow against it. And it's very cool to see GMX and a lot of other platforms as like this, like it's a very integrated ecosystem, which I think ends up being a better experience for users overall, better execution. Liquidity is managed more seamlessly. So very, very cool to see the integrated experience of many of the projects that we've had on stage today. I know we're still running a bit behind, but I want to get to FORE Protocol because they've been very patiently waiting amidst our interruptions. And I'm personally a prediction market enthusiast. So I'm very, very keen to hear about FORE. They had a recent launch on Arbitrum, and welcome Merv to the stage. And yeah, tell us a little bit about the launch and how you're finding Arbitrum since the launch.
Yeah, first and foremost, I mean, thank you all for the marathon here. The moderators have done just such a great job, having so many great builders on, as well as working through the technical difficulties that come with spaces on X. So kudos to you guys for that. But yeah, just diving right in, FORE Protocol is it basically provides a peer-to-peer prediction market called FORE Predict. FORE Predict allows users to create user-generated prediction markets, which then get posted onto effectively kind of a, you can kind of think of it as a message board of prediction markets where other users can then jump in and participate and essentially vote with the FORE token, which is, as you mentioned, in ERC20 that, that basically users can contribute to one side of the market or another. And what's really interesting about FORE Predict is not only can users participate in these prediction markets and create them, but they actually also vote in the settlement of the outcomes of these markets. And all of this is done for a reward. So it's a fully decentralized prediction market ecosystem built, as you mentioned, on Arbitrum. And, that's a bit about our product and our project. You're right to mention we had a mainnet launch about 2 weeks ago. I think everyone's looking for alpha here. Definitely, there's been some great traction. Definitely check it out. It's FORE USDT is the pair, and FORE Protocol FORE. You can find us on
here on X, or you can Google for the website. But yeah, essentially that's kind of the core and crux of the product. What has it been like, building on Arbitrum? I mean, I think I echo a lot of the sentiment here. We can go on and on about how transaction fees make it such that builders like ourselves can create products that are unique and interesting and aren't burdened by transactions costs, right? We can also talk about the growing ecosystem of users, right? And obviously the STIP program is kind of part of that. And then, but really for me, it comes down to conversations like this, right? It's about getting all the builders, all the founders, on a call and finding opportunities to kind of collectively work together to advance not only our own individual projects, but the ecosystem as a whole. And I think that collaboration, is particularly special. And frankly, for me, and for the FORE Protocol team, I think that really reconciles well with our values overall. So I'll round it all out by saying, in terms of FORE Protocol and integrations and collaborations with other projects, we definitely, are actively, looking for opportunities to work collectively with other founders in the ecosystem. So would love to connect with you all. One way that we've done that in the past is obviously because users can generate their own prediction markets. It's a great way to actually drive traffic to other projects. So for example, maybe Teddy at Notional wants to, create a prediction market that, that stipulates, what the TVL at Notional would be as of a certain date, and that's possible on FORE, and it wasn't possible before. So that's a little bit about us. It's a little bit about building on the ecosystem overall, and definitely looking forward to working with you all.
Teddy, any quick comment about the potentials of prediction markets when it comes to directing traffic and onboarding new adoption?
Man, honestly, I had never thought of that as like an idea. I think that's like a really cool idea. Like making a prediction market on like what's the total TVL going to be, and it's just like something I'd never thought of before. I hadn't really thought of. I feel like so I'm definitely not a prediction market expert, but I think that it's going to be like weird, kind of like super crypto native things like that, which would really get product market fit. Because I think like, like we already have kind of like financial derivatives that like allow you to, speculate on just like the price and the rate of different things. But I think like that's like a really interesting idea, and like a prediction market is like the right tool to allow you to speculate or trade something like that. So I don't know. I mean, I think that's a cool idea, and I'd be very curious to hear more of that, and like how, what kind of cool things you can do to, I don't know, like, as part of a marketing campaign, or like to do something that like gets people to engage in something that's kind of fun, and like, I think that, I'd be interested to hear more. I'd say
maybe I can just like riff on that for a second. Some interesting examples of prediction markets that we've seen on our platform. Again, these are user generated prediction markets that lots of other people see, and they're like, hey, that's pretty cool, and I want to participate in that as well. One was, will this certain flight be delayed, right? The takeoff time is this. The validation source is this Google Flights schedule, and will this flight ultimately be delayed? And turns out that user was sitting at the airport board, and they used our platform to create that prediction market, and that had a ton of participation, and they earned a sizable reward for creating that prediction market, right? So that's one type of user generated example. But then there's more familiar types of things, like, will the price of Bitcoin be above above 40,000 as of a certain date and time? Will a certain presidential candidate withdraw their electoral bid by a certain date, right? So it really spans the gamut. And what's really special about FORE, on multiple levels, but from the user's perspective, is this ability to express one's perspective or opinion about some future event, and to be able to do that on the blockchain in a secure way, and doing that in a decentralized and social way. And then picking that up a level, if we think about it at the protocol level, it's a great way for businesses, content creators. We've seen YouTubers, for example, go on there and create prediction markets to essentially find ways to, further engage their communities and engage their communities around their own content. So, for example, one YouTuber created a prediction market, which was, will this particular video get over 1 million views on YouTube, right? And then so you had the validation source, and then he drove a large part of his community to FORE Predict, right, where people were participating and essentially wagering what they thought what the future outcome kind of would be. So that's a little bit more about it. And like I said, I mean, Teddy would love to connect, offline or otherwise. And same is true for anyone else here. If you're interested in prediction markets kind of as a category, or if you're interested in potential partnerships as it relates to that, would love to connect. And I also see that I have some other team members on the call here. So we definitely are collaborative, and that's a key value that we kind of bring to the ecosystem as well, and you guys all bring to us. So I'll pass it back to you all, but I really appreciate the stage here. Thank you.
Thanks, Murph. Could gladly continue the conversation around prediction markets. Hope we do at a later time. We've got a absolute banger last panel. So we've got Steven from Umami, we've got Frank from Rodeo, and then we're gonna end it with a bang with Isaac from Radiant. So let's go to Steven from Umami first. Great to have you up on stage, and love to hear what Umami is doing with the STIP program specifically.
Yeah, thanks for putting this together and having us up here. Definitely it's been a marathon, and y'all been listening, and just so much alpha, and it's really makes me happy to see how well this entire community works together. For the STIP, it's performed pretty well for us. We received 750,000 ARB, and we are using the ARB to increase the TVL for our single-sided exposure GMX GLP vaults. The demand for the ARB has been pretty high. The emissions have been pretty high because we're using the OARB emissions from Dolomite. So altogether, TVL is up 50%, volumes up, unique users are up, vault fees are also higher. So with the OARB system that we borrowed from Dolomite, we did change a few things. Similarly, we have, the mandate that users, they stake their Umami vaults tokens in order to receive the OARB. And, once they basically they claim their OARB, they're able to pair their OARB with ARB and are able to vest for 2.5% discount per week, and that's up to 40 weeks for the full 100% discount. And because we're using the OARB system, we had to calculate the fact that most people aren't necessarily going to redeem their OARB, so we're able to kind of boost the OARB emission rates a little bit higher. And what that's created is basically just the highest APR for single-sided GLP vaults. And I think it also creates some nice flexibility for depositors, getting their OARB so quickly, and they can kind of decide when to vest. And like Dolomite mentioned, there's a lot of good things that this does for the ecosystem. It brings ARB back on chain. Some users that might have their ARB on centralized exchange will bring it back on chain. Using this system, ultimately it locks up ARB for an extended period of time, which I think is a net positive, for the ecosystem. Just making sure that depositors are aligned by being part of the Arbitrum ecosystem and having that ARB and not selling it or farming it. And as the STIP's goal state, we wanted to experiment, with ways to increase user engagement and increase liquidity. And I think we've done that. Essentially, the way I look at it is we're able to leverage the ARB, right? And not just increase TVL for our vaults, but we increase the investments into ARB. Any ETH that we accumulate through the STIP, the discounted ARB purchase, that's going to be recycled back into incentives. So we basically just leveraging the total amount of liquidity is the main goal there. So just a little alpha there. We're going to be having a DAO vote to allow the community a chance to vote on the best way to use that ETH in alignment with the STIP program. We've got some interesting ideas for that. So we've learned a lot. We've gotten plenty of feedback from the community, adjusting the maximum vesting rate. We started off at 16 weeks. For a 40% discount, we changed that to 40 weeks to allow the maximum 100% discount, which, increases the duration of ARB. Just through brainstorming on the UI front, we were able to make it a little bit more clear as far as what your actual APR is. So, we created a little slider that's on the user interface, and visually, you're able to adjust the duration and the discount rate, and it changes the APR calculations across the whole UI. And I think that's kind of what Umami really focuses on, and is making a simple, easy to understand, user interface. That we want to be that kind of entry level to the whole Arbitrum ecosystem. So, as far as collaborations, the STIP has really brought out the best in all the projects. We worked with Dopex on the Arbitrum Frontier campaign, and that's launched on the Galaxy site there. So it's been a pleasure working with them, and we've been able to reach thousands of new users who are just kind of learning about Umami, increase the deposits and engagement there. So that was very useful. So just to finish up, we are working on the GMX V2 vaults. That's going to be built on top of the GM liquidity pools there. And right now we have already started our auditing with Guardian. Guardian is the same group that audited GMX V2 vaults. So right now they've got a full team dedicated to auditing over the next few weeks. So we're feeling pretty confident about the progress so far. And the goal is to get this product out before the end of the STIP. So we can incentivize vaults for the GMV2 product there, and just kind of increase TVL there. So just to highlight quickly, the benefits of the GM vaults versus the GLP vaults. It's quite different. The GM liquidity pool versus GLP. Open interest is much more balanced on V2. So for the GM vaults, they're not going to be as affected by the trader P&L, which it bodes well for a more stable and predictable APR. That's the biggest issue that we've seen with the current vaults right now. As traders are winning on the platform, the relative performance versus the actual asset can fluctuate just based on the P&L. And even though they're getting yields from the GLP, it's just not as much as it could be. So although the vaults work exactly as intended using an internal netting strategy where they use each bull as a counterparty. It's been working, but the up only markets have kind of put in a dent into the maximum yield. But the great part is the depositors get to choose which, if they want to be more in the stable or if they want the volatile asset deposit. So you're still able to get the maximum data. If you were deposited into the Bitcoin or Ethereum vault over the last couple months, you still had that upside. You just had a little bit of exposure to GLP, and GLP has been very good at mitigating losses from trader P&L. I think everyone here can attest to that. They have a very safe and effective strategy for eliminating the amount of longs and shorts. So just going forward, we believe that Umami's UI will create an easier way to understand the GM pools, right, and kind of understand exactly what the return is. So depositors don't have to worry about the intricacies of how their exposure to each token changes within the pool. They'll just be able to deposit into one asset. And we've also got some things that you're working up as far as showing the actual performance of GMX protocols, just a little bit different than what we have. I'll leave it at that.
Pick. That dog was getting excited about these APYs on Umami. And appreciate you not straight shilling, but I have no shame, so I don't mind. 163% on USDC, 144% on WETH, and 115% on Wrap Bitcoin on Umami. Check out that top pin tweet, and definitely check out Umami to get those boosted pools. And I will say that is after full vesting. Steven,
be careful. And guys, be smart about doing too many crazy things in DeFi with a ton of capital. I always like thinking about slowing things down, testing things out, getting it going, and ramping it up. And it goes for all crazy, or just yields in general. Just like as we keep focusing on the STIPs, might we remind ourselves not to be too just like make a similar path of just like the things that happened in previous DeFi cycles. And so let's just, and I'm done being on a tangent, but that is something that I just wanted to talk in there.
Yeah, there's definitely intricacies, to the ARB system and all that. So it's definitely, I agree.
Wise words from our chief DGen. All right, let's keep it moving. So next up, I think we've got Sebastian, and a little bit of a unique take here from Sebastian, who is working on a gaming protocol. Sebastian, floor is yours, and let's hear about what you have on your mind as far as Arbitrum gaming.
Yeah, thanks for having me on board. We're Pima Studios. We're a framework for building on-chain games and autonomous worlds. We started this project about 1.5 years ago, so quite a while back, and we were looking for an EVM partner for our project, and Arbitrum was the best partner we found. Super responsive, really great tech stack, had everything we needed, and we ended up meeting the team in Japan, where I'm based, and had a really good conversation with them. Through this, we ended up being one of the first games to launch on Zygames, which is this layer 3 for Arbitrum, and that's Zygames through their work and our work with Torochi launch. They became the largest mint on Arbitrum, so they did really well. And Torochi, which is the game we wrote for Xi, has had about 100K transactions on it so far. So really good traction from a user base as well, and really good feedback from that. So we've been doing a lot of work. All this is done without any grant or STIP or anything. This is all out of pocket from our side to build this out. But it's been great growth. And actually, Finance Research recently put out a report on on-chain gaming, and we're listed as one of the top 3 frameworks for building on-chain games. The other 2 are MUD, which is only for OP Stack because they're funded by Optimism. And the other one is Dojo, which is only for Starknet and funded by Stark. For only one term. But we're not super maxi about it. I mean, we have worked with other protocols in the past, but I see a lot of synergy with us and Arbitrum, and we're working on a lot of really exciting stuff going forward, notably to try and allow games to build ZK that still connects to Arbitrum, so they can have transactions sell to Arbitrum and access on Arbitrum, but use ZK for their game without having to resort to going to Starknet. So we have a lot of really cool stuff in the pipeline. Again, we didn't ask for any grant or STIP or anything, but we are obviously super interested in continuing to build in the Arbitrum ecosystem, connect with anybody here in this call. And if things go well, we might end up asking for a grant in the future. To be honest, I'm not super familiar with the Arbitrum grant system. We skipped the last STIP because we thought probably it's better not to apply for it if we didn't have something in mainnet yet. And so we wait until we launch Torochi in our game before, really looking into any grants. So that's kind of background from us.
Awesome. Thanks, Sebastian. We'll keep it moving. We'll pass it over to Frank from Rodeo. What's up, Frank?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for hosting the session.
Good.
Yes, sir. Well,
we are 3 hours in and the home stretch here.
Perfect. So
take us there.
I'll keep us pretty brief, but I'm pretty excited to be here. Just a quick briefer on what Rodeo is for those that don't know. We're a native Arbitrum protocol that's aiming to be a leverage hub for Arbitrum. Really what that means is we integrate with the best protocols and on a consistent basis to provide different yield earning opportunities through our different products. So we're really excited to be part of the Arbitrum ecosystem just because of the partnerships and amazing integrations that are happening in the ecosystem right now. Definitely the STIP really brought everyone back together again. I know pushing that partnership innovation side of things even further. With our core products right now on Rodeo, we offer leverage yield farming on some of the best yield farms on Rodeo, like for example, like Jones, JUSDC, different Camelot pools, Pendle liquidity pools, Sushi, Plutus, and we're consistently trying to build out some new ones. So the next ones to come out in the next couple of weeks will be the GM pools, so GMXV2 GM pools. We're really excited to get those out. There's a lot of people that have been reaching out to us in interest of those. So what that really allows people to do is to take their collateral, like say they had $1,000, borrow up to $9,000 and deposit into those different GM pools to boost their potential yield. So that's our core product. We're also coming up with a few other structured vaults that don't have anything to do with our lending borrowing system. And what that does, it just allows us to integrate with more awesome DeFi protocols and build some unique strategies for earning yield within the ecosystem in a more protected manner. We also have our Alamo coming out, which I'm pretty excited for. It allows us to accept different LST tokens, whether that be like interest-bearing tokens or wrap sticky type of tokens as collateral. And the user gets to maintain their exposure to that asset, plus borrow up to 5x leverage against it to deposit in the different farms. So we're really just trying to bring all the best protocol opportunities within an Arbitrum and kind of extrapolate out all the complexity through a simple UI in one place. So as far as the STIP, we are part of the backfill group. So we are really happy and thankful for all the delegates that provided us feedback, that engaged with us. We'll be getting 250,000 ARB from the Arbitrum Foundation. We also got part of the GMX grant as well. What we'll be really incentivizing from a high level is just the TVL and use on Rodeo. What that really means is the more TVL we get, the more TVL that gets spread to the underlying protocols that we're integrated with. So it's really a win-win-win for users and the other protocols in Rodeo as well, to be able to utilize these STIP rewards. Definitely our biggest friction point right now is competing with other passive lending yields. So that's where we're going to focus a lot of the incentives, as well as giving better yield opportunities on our yield farms. So we're really excited to use these to draw in a lot of new users, some eyes, and also build up our partnerships with existing and new partners. So if there's anyone that wants to reach out, has any cool ideas for some leverage or just yield strategies in general, please reach out at any time. We're really thankful to be building as part of the Arbitrum ecosystem, and definitely welcome the conversations and like this with all the amazing groups together. So thanks so much for having us. I won't keep us too much longer.
Yeah, man. I know that the the VE33 model has been battle tested over the bear market, and I'm going to be really excited to see how it pans out in the next like 18 months to see like how much liquidity, that type can grow across multiple chains, kind of in the similar sense that that group is doing, and specifically with Arbitrum. So thanks for coming on. And I think Rob, last run of the last panel of the
big finish. Isaac, take us across the line.
Hello, Robbie. Hello, Andy. Well, love to be bringing this home and taking it over the finish line. So really enjoyed the part of the show that I listened to. So thanks again for putting one of these marathon spaces. And you guys must be exhausted, but I'll try to make my best to make it exciting for this last part of the show today. Thanks for having us once again. And as far as Radiant is concerned, first quick TLDR on what Radiant is for any newbies, people not familiar out there. Radiant is the leading cross-chain money market lending and borrowing protocol in Arbitrum, now also launched on BSC and very recently on mainnet. And regarding STIP, the Arbitrum program, we prepared a proposal. We got super interesting feedback, and I loved to see all the feedback coming in from the people that took the time to try and improve our proposal. And then the proposal was approved. So now we're seeing the results of STIP. We're super excited because the grant that we presented had 3 parts. The main one was 2 million ARB, focused slightly over 2 million ARB, focused on a new airdrop to people providing liquidity to the Radiant protocol. So basically one of the cool things that we introduced with the V2 of Radiant was DLP, Dynamic Liquidity Provisioning. So basically apart from just lending and borrowing and getting your competitive base yields there, a user can provide liquidity and start getting protocol fees paid in real yield assets. So basically blue chips. From all the protocol fees that the protocol collects from borrowers paying the loans, 85% is sent over to users, 25% to lenders, 60% to DLP holders. And people providing liquidity, those DLP holders, can lock the DLP for a variable locking length from 1 month all the way up to 12 months. Of course, the longer you lock, the higher the yields. And it's this longer locking DLP users that we wanted to reward with the STIP program, and so the major chunk of the STIP grant that Radiant received is allocated to new DLP lockers locking for 6 months or 12 months. Whenever you lock, you have 3 main sources of utility. One is the share of platform revenue. The majority of the platform revenue is going to DLP lockers currently, and it's paid in real yield, blue chip assets such as Bitcoin, wrapped ETH, stable coins, and LSDs that we recently added. Then the second source of utility of locking your DLPs is that you unlock Radiant, a boost in Radiant emissions. So you start getting a boost in your yield, receiving Radiant emissions if you provide liquidity which is above 5% of your deposit. So to keep it real simple, if you deposit $100 in Radiant and you have $5 or more worth of liquidity in locked DLP, you qualify and you unlock the boost in Radiant emissions. And then of course governance. So governance is based on the DLP token. So that's basically the major part of the grant. That's 2 million ARP tokens going as an airdrop, the new 6 months and 12 month DLP lockers. So that's still open. We're super happy to share that we had a milestone based grant also for this part. So basically, depending on the milestones we reached, we got more of that 2 million ARP, or if we didn't meet the milestones, we would actually have to return those million ARP. It looks like we won't be having to return any of those ARP because we've already reached the last but one milestone. So we are close to getting to the final milestone. And of course, there is still a lot of time for people who are interested in locking DLP to go to app.radiant.capital and lock the DLP for 6 or 12 months. We already had great metrics of a first airdrop that we did with the original airdrop allocation to the Radiant DAO back in May. And basically that was what
helped us, what pushed us to allocate the majority of the ARB that we were requesting for this grant to a second season airdrop, which is, showing really successful results in terms of performance, new TVL, especially new loyal users who are locking liquidity for long periods. So in this case, 6 to 12 months, because they trust the protocol. That being said, the rest of the grant is a part which particularly excites me, because when anyone asks what I would highlight about being on Arbitrum, I always say it's two aspects: the infrastructure and the ecosystem. The infrastructure in terms of performance, low gas costs, and so on is great, but the ecosystem in terms of the synergies with top protocols, GMX, Dopex, we've had Gamma, for example, here, Trader Joe, many of the protocols in the show today, we've been collaborating with, and I love the synergies that we've been building, and that many other protocols have been building within the Arbitrum universe. I think that speaks volumes of the strength of the Arbitrum universe as a whole. And the second part of the Radiant STIP grant was focused on synergies. For example, we allocated one part of the ARB tokens to the Camelot V3 Radiant ETH pool, which is working very well, and that's managed by Gamma, actually, who we had just recently on the show. We've also allocated a part to Plutus, and this is an alpha that I can share with you today, and Robbie, and with the rest of the people listening. We've allocated a part of the ARB grant to Silo, a protocol that's working on isolated markets, because Radiant will be launching isolated markets with V3 in the coming months. We plan to include more than 100 new assets, exotic assets, all the assets that our community, of course, votes in favor of. But of course, these assets, which will be more exotic in the sense that they may bring higher utilities, but of course with higher risk profile, we want to build them and create them in isolated markets. So that's one of the big features that our community is super excited for the coming V3 in Radiant. So that's in a nutshell how Radiant has used the STIP, not only for our current V2, but for the future of V3 and the synergies with some of the top protocols in Arbitrum. Thanks a lot, Robbie, Andy.
Yeah, man. The alpha there is a lot of people look at competition and projects look at competition, and I'm sure we all have that innate desire, but this space has been basically the foundational layer of collaboration in Arbitrum is key. And props to you for seeing like a cool niche and going after it. And I hope that the DLP journey goes well. And yeah, Rob, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, especially since Isaac just gave us. I mean, what a way to close out. Isaac, congrats. I mean, one of the top STIP earners, and Radiant, as one of the top recipients of the Arbitrum STIP. So amazing, and congrats on the integration and the plans for both you and Silo. Silo's one of our friends, and very, very cool to see safe degeneracy, you could say, by allowing these exotic assets, but also siloing the risk so that you're able to keep those risks just in that singular part, so that any kind of contagion can't spread to the rest of the protocol. Very, very cool, and kudos to working together and collaborating for greater user experience in the Arbitrum ecosystem overall. What a way to close out. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling bullish. A doik over to our friends at Mosaic. Cheers, Frank, for sticking with us all the way to the end. Sebastian, thanks for coming up. This has been good. This has been fun. I hope we can do one of these in person sometime, whether it's a marathon or we're just hanging out. Hint, hint, Denver, Alpha. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm looking forward to Arbitrum season continuing. And I hope everyone has a happy holidays here coming up. And yeah, thanks for being on this journey with us. And thanks to Arbitrum and the entire community for helping us make this a successful journey. Andy, how you feeling?
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. I'd just like to let any of these last panelists have any closing thoughts. Yeah, Doik over to them and Doik over to.
Let's Joy guys. Just want to give a shout out to the roll up for hosting this marathon as well. A lot of coordination would have taken place behind the scenes that these guys have obviously, gone and undertaken. So massive kind of shout out to the homies from the roll up for putting this on for everyone, getting the Arbitrum ecosystem pumping and firing. And just a big thank you to everyone who also attended, all the protocols who attended today, going into the holidays, wishing everyone, the best. Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys. And yeah, Ron, that's a good flush.
Yes, it is indeed. That was a marathon. Again, hope to do another one of these, maybe in person, probably not for a while. And thank you everyone for coming on. Absolute blast. There's so much alpha, my head hurts. I think I'm going to go for a drink or a nap and soak it all in. Thank you so much. And
what we'll do for the community, kind of pushing this forward. Expect some really interesting written stuff and some obviously some cool video segments, and trying to put these together to kind of map out some of the off-chain of Arbitrum and see how we can make it better. And that's going to be exciting on the next couple of days leading up to holidays. And I guess just expect some posts and some recaps and some cool stuff from the roll up. And thanks to everybody for coming out.
Definitely. We'll take lots of clips. We've got over 3 hours to chop it all up and distribute it. So you'll be hearing about these presentations, and you'll hear from all these projects that joined today continuously over the timeline up through the holidays. Like Andy said, lots of written content, distilling some of the alpha that we heard on the space today. It's a pleasure to host these. Thank you so much. I feel like they get better and better. So we'll see everyone on the next one.
Thanks, guys. Thanks again. Take care, everyone. Happy holidays.